Hey everyone, it's Cosmic, back with another video. Today's video is a bit different in terms of topic. The video I'm covering today is a video done by the user Oswald, better known as SonicShadow98. That'll be our target for today, as this is in regards to a video done about the SEC, or in a way, a rant. Yeah, I have some issues, so strap in and join me as we dive deep into the shadows of this commentary.
Hello, I am SonicShadow98, once again with another rant! This time I am going to be doing a rant on a certain community that drives me insane and makes me want to cringe 90% of the time. No, I am not talking about the Sonic fanbase, even though I might do a rant on that in the future. I am talking about the commentary community! For those who don't know, the commentary community is basically people who are commentators that come together and commentate on certain videos. It becomes basically like an entire fandom. That's all fine and all, but there's so many problems with the community.
And we have mistake number one. I understand that we're still at the start of the video, but 2 minutes in and we already have something that will throw the viewer off. In better terms, you mentioned that the community has so many problems, but never list off potential or specific problems the community has and go with a much lazier route of saying that it has many problems without elaborating as to what those problems may be. From a viewer's point of view, this is a rough start that can leave a person confused as to what you're ranting about. Are you ranting on certain individuals, certain groups, the community as a whole? What part of the community are you directing this to? All these questions can be asked in the viewer's mind if not treated with care, especially when making rants like this.
Once it became a community, many of the commentators just said, fuck it, and did commentaries that were just bad.
What exactly do you mean when saying that their commentaries are bad? I'm likely not aware of which ones you have seen or have not seen, but this is a broad and simplified stance that makes a person question what makes the video bad. How are the videos bad in your eyes? What do they do that doesn't fit a certain criteria you have set when watching their videos? I ask that if you consider them bad, maybe elaborate as to how they are bad in your eyes. I'm sure not everyone would agree with the stance you have set in this video right now. Take it into consideration when you're making a rant like this. Elaborate more on the points you bring up in this rant so people know what exactly makes something bad or terrible for you. Make the viewer understand your opinion on the topic. Don't confuse them.
The commentaries in that community got so ridiculous that even Youngblood Fantasy called them out.
Youngblood Fantasy. Now that's a name. Problem with that, Oswald. Bringing up Youngblood Fantasy 91 making a video on the community comes off as an outdated and irrelevant source, as the video you mentioned is no longer up on the channel after doing some research on that channel. Keep in mind, Youngblood Fantasy likely no longer stands behind that video that you mentioned, so bringing it up proves to be rather pointless at the end of the day. I get that you likely brought the name up as a pointer that you're not the only one who made this kind of video, so as stated before, the video is no longer up on the channel, causing the point to fall apart like shattered pieces of glass.
Now, not all the people in the commentary community are bad content creators, and not all of them are bad people. Blaze the movie fan, Raven the commentator, Lucifer, Jacob the redhead, and some others are really cool people, and their videos aren't even that bad. In fact, I am really good friends with them, and we all get along just fine.
Actually, that contradicts a phrase that you said earlier in the video. Something about how the commentary community was bad. Yes, I am aware that this comes off as a nitpick at best. However, it's not really recommended in a rant to contradict yourself in the first 2 or to almost 3 minutes in the video. This doesn't just apply to commentaries, but it can also apply to rants as well.
However, there are many people who make really bad commentaries and get so many views and subscribers. I am just scratching my head, wondering why people subscribe to them and like the videos so much.
I can answer that question for you. If you're asking as to why some people like their content while you're wondering as to why, it's really left up to subjectivity on what kind of content they're into. In better terms, they enjoy their work for various reasons. As subjective as the question is, it can be summed up as people enjoying their style, or how they format their points, or how they argue, as well as give their targets ways to improve themselves. Sure, some of the content may not be in your best interest, but remember, you're not being forced to watch the content. It always helps to look from a different person's perspective as to why they enjoy the content. Maybe ask around and see what answers you might get.
Doodle Tones is a major example of how not to make commentaries. I have nothing against her too much as a person. In fact, I don't even know her personally, but her commentary videos are just bad. They are worse than my past commentaries. Doodle is so boring. And she talks in a condescending tone at times, which can throw some people off. She joked about autism in her commentary on Step by a Sonic fan, which wasn't even funny in the first place. Piece of shit. And if it wasn't a joke, then it was just really cruel, mean, and messed up. Plus, her voice sounds like Fred Figurehorn. She sounds like frickin' Fred. I swear, her commentary videos are so boring that half of the time, I am not paying attention to them. They just make me want to go watch something else, and I am just rolling my eyes like, when is the video going to end already? I'm bored. Also, a lot of Doodle's commentaries are unnecessarily long, like 30 minutes, 50 minutes, or even an hour. See, I don't mind long YouTube videos like that, but when she commentates for maybe even an hour or 50 minutes, and it's just nothing really that engaging or entertaining, I lose interest in it rather fast. When I do long videos that are even an hour long, I make them really engaging and entertaining, and actually offer valid points, and they are long only because I invite Discord guests to do these videos with me, as I give them time to say what they think of the subject as I was renting on with them. Doodle doesn't do that at all. She doesn't offer anything engaging. Doodle sounds so monotone and blah, like she really doesn't want to do the commentary in the first place. Yet people like her videos and subscribe to her. I don't understand that. I'm alright if you like Doodle's videos, but I don't see what's so great or outstanding about them.
Phew, man, was that long? 2 minutes of the rant on Doodle alone. Jesus. Alright, let's break each one of your complaints down one by one. Starting with the complaint on Doodle's commentaries being bad and possibly worse than your past commentaries. Slight question, but are you referring to 2016 Doodle's commentaries where she was admittedly bad per se, or are we referring to the 2021 Doodle? Either way, the complaint is for the most part subjective. Her videos may be bad to you, but for others, they're not. Now, the second complaint, claiming that she is so boring and condescending at times. Okay. Again, subjective on the first, but on the second one, no. She's not condescending as of her more recent videos. Condescension is not necessarily a bad thing, but if used poorly, it can come off as talking down to your target. Doodle doesn't do that kind of thing anymore. That's a phase that's left in the past. If anything, she's more fair with her critiques and offers mass amounts of ways for the target to grow and learn as shown in her videos. On to complaint 3, the autism bit. Really? Like, really? The joke you mentioned on Sapphire Sonic Fan was a mistake that Doodle has since regretted ever making. That example is outdated and should not be held over above her head, especially since the video was done in 2017. Let it go. She's learned from the mistakes mentioned. Holding her to past mistakes like that does no one any good and will only cause harm in the long run. Now, complaint number 4. Her voice comparison is definitely unnecessary and unneeded. There's a difference between the two. Comparing this...
Now, I want to preface this by saying that I do not stand by my initial video on Jar.
...to this...
Hey, it's Red! And it's really nice out, so I think I'm gonna go swimming later.
...is nothing more than a nitpick. Because, if I may... Fred has a much higher pitch than Doodle's voice, as a bit played up for the sake of comedy. As for Doodle, she pitches up and uses a voice changer as a counter to her possible voice dysphoria. Then she's, well, transgender. It benefits her in the long run as she's going through transitioning and such, like many others do when it comes to gender dysphoria. Next part, we're skipping as it amounts to you don't have to watch it, and I've already explained that it being boring is subjective. As for the final point, it's extremely subjective as the length of Doodle's videos tend to vary as she might have a lot to say or she's covering more than one target, hence the degree chains and labels. Again, if they don't entertain you, then you don't need to watch, nor force yourself into listening to the video. It's a nitpick at best. Phew, that was a mouthful. Hopefully I didn't bore anyone out with that one. I'm sure I did. Sorry.
I also don't care for the insane critics Fractured Light's and Umbrus's commentaries. I haven't watched Fractured Light and Umbrus's commentaries in full, but I am pretty sure they are the same condescending bullcrap as Doodle.
Sonic Shadow, you do realize that you just admitted to not watching their stuff in full. Jumping the gun and making conclusions about them being likely condescending comes off as an assumption, which is something you want to avoid in the future, even in a rant video where it's your subjective opinion.
I am just not a fan of their work, and don't care to watch them all the way. The insane critic also falls into the same trap. His art style for his avatar is hideous that even I can draw better, and yes, he drew his avatar. His commentaries are also blah. I bet he can't even make a rant video to save his life!
Okay, no. Comparing your artwork skills to critics' artwork skills is not necessary. He's 14, and saying that you can draw better than he can comes off as a very childish jab at critics' expense. Saying this isn't justified even if you had a grudge with him. He's still improving, and you're still improving. You're 19 and he's 5 years younger. Don't do that to him. He's still got ways to go, especially if he has a passion for art. Also, Sonic Shadow, one look from your DeviantArt says a different story when comparing the two works side by side. That's just an oof moment.
Loudon is, for me now, is okay. He left a sour impression on me after watching his commentary on the first part to My Mother's Rant, which I didn't like honestly. But after hearing that his commentaries are really good, they are something I want to check out for myself. So many of the commentators in the commentary community I either don't care for, like Boomslayer, or I just can't stand them. Because of this, it's really hard to find amazing commentaries on YouTube. The commentary community is also filled with toxic drama. Seriously, what the hell? What the fuck? There's so much drama. And if you say one little thing that you happen to disagree with them on, they unfairly bash you. One time when I was a member of a commentary community server, when discussing about how Scott Cawthon, who is the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, by the way, was a bad person simply because he donated to Trump and McConnell, who are anti-LGBT, I didn't like defend his decision to donate to those two, but rather stated that he wasn't a bad person, and that, while he may have poor choice, he's not all that bad of a human being. I was also saying that just because he happens to support those two, doesn't mean that he agrees with everything they do or say. I said something along those lines. I got unfairly bashed for it, acting as like I defended him. I wasn't defending the fact that he donated to these two clowns. I was saying that he probably wasn't too bad of a human being.
Okay, two issues here. While I'm not fully briefed on the whole Scott Cawthon situation and him donating to an anti-LGBT organization, which is very questionable, mind you, from what I gathered by the discussion that took place, you weren't being unfairly bashed on. People disagreed and they criticized you with their own respective opinions, as commentators do in this community. As for the second part, this is not a place to air private dirty laundry and generalize the community as if everyone in the community joined in to dogpile on you when that's not the case.
That goes to show that they are willing to dehumanize certain people just because they support them or because they made a shitty mistake. The community can't even take other people's point of views on stuff like that.
See, when you say the community, it paints the said community with a broad brush for actions certain individuals did. It's recommended you don't generalize an entire community for actions that some children had caught.
They were willing to go as far as to say that it was a commentary, which it's not, and that it was the worst commentary of 2021. No, the video isn't a commentary. A commentary is when you commentate over the entire video, with some skipping at times to give out points and even criticisms. A response is just a video where you just give your overall thoughts on the video, without even showing the entire video, why you like or dislike it, and address any possible flaws, kind of like a review or a rant.
Actually, it was a commentary. Maybe not a commentary by your standards, but under what you described, it still counts as a commentary, as it essentially responds and addresses points from your original video. A commentary is a video response in this context to the original video with points and rebuttals, kind of like a discussion or a conversation. So in this case, Rapparage's video was indeed a commentary as stated by the criteria.
I said this before and I will say again. I showed and sped up some clips from Rapparage's video for context. I wasn't even commentating on it. I was showing some clips from the video in the response for context purposes. I did it that way to showcase that this is what he really said and that I wasn't just bullshitting in the response. It wasn't really a commentary whatsoever, nor should it be considered one. I told the community that it wasn't a commentary, that it was just a response. They didn't buy it one bit and acted like a response and a commentary are the same thing, which they are not. And as for the response somehow being the worst commentary of 2021, I really don't think it deserves that. Sure, I got way too angry when it came close to the end, but the response wasn't as bad as the committee made out to be. They said I was being hypocritical and all that BS. I am not going to say all what happened in this rant, because I don't want to be here all day. If you want to hear more on what happened, please watch my video, SonicShadow98 Strikes Back, and clarify shit. I explain it all there. I'll link that in the description of this video. So much toxic drama has happened within the community. The Dead Stein drama is one of the many commentary community dramas. I can't even stand internet drama, so I am not going to like the community if it's filled with all that drama. So much of the internet drama they've gone into is pointless. It's freaking stupid and pointless. That is not right. Why the hell can't we just all get along, even if we don't agree with one another? It's just fucking bullshit.
This community can't get along because there will always be some sort of bias coming from one another. As for the dramas, the Dan Stein one happened a while ago and has no relevance. Also, that's what the community has to face. Drama. Even if some may not like it, it's going to be everywhere because someone will end up doing something dumb or overblowing a small situation at the end of the day. It's just what the community tends to become sometimes.
I really do think that if some commentators don't want to use their natural voice, they should do text-based commentaries, or better yet, use a text-to-speech program. I mean, you can do what you want with your commentaries, be my guest, but I am just not that much of a fan of high-pitched, speed-up, squeaky voices being used all that much in commentaries and other more serious videos.
Actually, using a text-to-speech both does not work, nor is it engaging as shown by people who actually use it instead of their real voice. It's considered the laziest form of audio editing as it adds zero emotion to the video, nor does it incline the listener to keep going. The goal is to entertain while giving out fair points and interjections, rather than a bot that expresses no emotion. Pink Robot is an exception to this, as she does it for anonymity purposes. And that's essentially where we'll end this off for that video. The last 3 minutes or so are repeats or complaints that mainly sum up to subjectivity and whatnot. It paints a broad brush once more on the entire community despite the rant being on only a few people, and it's just not worth sitting through and having to repeat points for. Time for final thoughts. Oh boy, where do I begin with this one? This felt like a chore to really sit through for a rant nonetheless. I understand rants are normally expressive ways to voice out your own opinions, whether it's with a script or whether it's without one. This rant bugged me in particular for a few select reasons. I want to dive into the biggest issue this video had in particular, whether it comes to do you think it was good or not. At the end of the day, this rant felt very generalized. It came down to a point where the main focus was more on select members with the community than the entire community itself. Now, I also have my fair share of issues with the SCC and CC as a community itself, but that could be its own video if I ever felt compelled to really go through with that. This rant in particular had about a good third or so on Doodle Tones as a person, whether it was about how she speaks or other nitpicks. It was just unnecessary and a reason for just painting the community as bad with a broad brush. SonicShadow or Oswald, whatever you want to be called. I'm gonna be 100% real with you for a second. This video ain't it. Tilting a whole community as bad when the video covers only a few people you either had personal beef with or nitpicks with is not the way to go. Now, you and I have had a discussion about this video, and I've given my own fair share of thoughts back and forth before my video was even created. I made it known that I'd cover you so I can get you to know that what went wrong and why people don't like this video. Those outside of the community can also hate the video or dislike it at best because that's just that. It was a video made out of spiteful anger that focused on nitpicks on certain individuals rather than really giving them something to work with, like something to improve upon. A rant doesn't always have to be forceful anger in tone, but a way to air out frustrations with a certain topic. Painting the community in a way that generalizes a lot of people who either associate or are in a community as toxic individuals is just no. I have my fair share of complaints with some of its members due to events that transpire between them and I. Those are personal matters that show no light of day on my channel, though I'm getting ahead of myself. The point is, Oswald, you're not a bad person as some may believe. You're just very argumentative, and it shows whether it's from our debates in the servers, or in DMs, or whether it's this video. You can do better. Now, to close this video off with a few suggestions, whether editing-wise or audio-wise. Sonic Shadow, the editing portion needs a lot of work, whether it be from the timing of your avatar photos feeling off sync with your audio to other cases. It's just a personal nitpick of mine that can make me switch off the video quickly. As for the audio portion, it's going to require a lot of audio balancing because the mic peaks a bit at times, hurting the audience's ears at times. However, my best advice is to take multiple takes and listen to how you sound in your rants. Don't just rush it just to get something out. That burns people out fast. Do it because you enjoy what you work with, not because it's an obligation. And with that, I'm finished. I hope I was able to at least teach you something and figure some stuff out as a way to improve your video quality. Stay out of this world, my little Starbits. Enjoy the fan art feature for this video. Feel free to send me more in my Discord server or my socials in the description below. Bye!